Hi, good day, folks. And there is a glare in these glasses. Um, Sorry. Okay, so today's video is going to be about the power of saying no and how that helps with boundaries and how that helps with kind of setting your goals throughout the year or this coming year or these last 60 days. Today is day 61. Obviously, I could have gone on live earlier, but let's just stick with the program here. And also, I can't believe that tomorrow is 60 days. Tomorrow will be 60 days left within the year 2025. Congratulations that you've made it thus far in this year, despite whatever you had to go through this year. Count it all joy that you have made it through this year, that the Lord saw fit for you to continuously to be here despite every single thing, every obstacle, every trial, every tribulation, everything that you went through this year. Count it all joy that you have made it thus far. Okay, so I want to just talk about how lately I've just been doing my evaluation, and I've this this thing keeps popping up where I'm a little hesitant to do something, and in the back of my mind there's this thing that's saying, when will I have time for this? Or if I do this, Lord, I won't have time for you. If I do this, Lord, when would I have time to sleep? If I do this, Lord, when would I have time to go to work and do this other thing on top of that? And the one word that came to mind was no, the power of saying no. As of recent, I have been the go to person at work when a valuable individual calls out from work or they're scheduled for paid time off, paid leave, or PTO. They're calling me in. So, and it doesn't matter what time of day it is. So, say for instance, that individual works the 3 a.m. to 11:30 shift. They're calling me in to sub for that individual on the 3:30 to 11:30 shift, not working my normal schedule, which is all great. It's good to know things. It's good to be very versatile where you can be utilized effectively in an organization or in life period. Like you are that girl or that guy where people see you're valuable. You're valuable in getting a job done. This is the case where I'm valuable at my place of work, which is good, but also it's bad because when I'm going in on these schedules that are not typically my norm or the norm, I find myself not sticking to boundaries, and I find myself not sticking to routines. I find myself not sticking to goals. And it's a little frustrating because I'm always wondering, well, if I had said no to that, would I be further along in whatever I had to do? Would I be further along? And the answer is yes, most definitely. But it's also, kind of nuanced, because if I know myself, usually what happens is I am sticking to a routine for about, I would say, 14 days. And past 14 days, it gets a little rocky, it gets a little tough for me to stick to that routine or stick to that plan of me being disciplined. And so I know that is nuanced because of just knowing myself in that regard, but also when I pair in going in overtime or subbing in for individuals at work, the question is, would I have actually stuck to the plan past 14 days? Would I stuck to a routine past the 14 days? And I don't really know because I've been working towards sticking to something for 21 days. It is said that if you stick to something for 21 days, you're building new habits, new skills, and new goals. And that rewiring of your brain allows that routine to be pretty much a part of you. It becomes a little stagnant. It becomes a little hard to break that fundamentals, that foundation down. So that's why I say if you want to kick a habit, do 21 days of without that thing. If it's social media, do a 21-day fast from social media. If it's food and beverages, to reset yourself, do a 21-day water fast or even 3 days. It's just the concept of sticking to it. And even they have the Daniel fast and all these things, and I understand that um, Daniel fasted for 21 days, not because he wanted to, but because there was a power over that city, the city of Persia, where he could not actually get what he needed from God. So that's why that fast was extended past the days that he had originally, wanted. However, it still was 21 days. It took 21 days for the power of the air to be broken by the angel Michael and the angel Gabriel. And still afterwards, they were still fighting that power of the air. So, the power of no. I will be practicing this week. Hopefully, it goes well. It goes as planned, and that God gives me the courage to be firm in my no and be firm in the decisions that He is causing me to make, and have courage and boldness to establish habits and to establish routines where they're not easily broken, they're not easily given up, as much as these last couple of weeks have been me giving up my time, giving up quiet time, giving up time of meditation to go into work, to substitute, to help out. And it's good to help, but you have to also understand that when helping hurts you, it's no longer helping. Let's think about that. When helping hurts you, it is no longer helping. It is no longer benefit. When we are called to do something, A, it's a benefit to another person, but it also is a benefit to us. If it's only benefiting the other individual and it's not benefiting you, something's wrong. And especially if it's harming you, then that is not good for you at all. That's a no go. That is something that we have to figure out and allow God to really work on us through so that we can regain our strength and our confidence in that area, because you should not be pouring out an empty cup. And usually that's what happens. We want to help people so much that we've poured out into them. They've received what they needed to receive. But because we are borderline empty, the little bit that we have for ourselves, it does not replenish us at all. It's like a little bit drop. It does not quench our thirst. It does not replenish us at all. And we have to be mindful of that. So I will go into this next week, honestly, the next 60 days, really honing into where I can say no, because there are certain areas where you should say no. There are certain areas in your life as you're growing, you should say yes. I know, shout out to Tabitha Brown. She had a book that says trying new things or something like that. And I think she recently did a post where she reflected on, I think it was like in the early 2000s, 2014 or 2015 or something like that, where she went on a new thing kind of adventure where in the month of November, every single day, she sought out to do something new. Now, this is where it gets tricky. When you're seeking out something new to do, obviously you're weighing how that new thing will fit into your life because you have non negotiables. You cannot allow a new thing to trump your non negotiables. And you must evaluate, is it going to be harmful or is it going to be helpful? Say, for instance, you want to take a music class. That's going to be helpful. Maybe that's a new hobby that you want to adventure out into, like playing the guitar, playing the ukulele or something like that, taking lessons or even swimming. Those can be hobbies. Those are good things because they're expanding or adding to your skill set. Whereas partying, hot girl winter, hot girl summer, whatever the new trend is, that may not be as helpful as you may think. Maybe it'll be helpful in like the friend department of gaining new friends or gaining a community or being social, working those social skills. But they also, it may come at a cost, come at a cost of you not going to sleep, come at a cost of you, I don't know if you drink or whatever, or if you're, putting bad food and bad things into your body. It may come at a cost. And you just have to evaluate where your no can be implemented and without it affecting the yes part of your life. And that is where I'm learning. And it's important to understand too that your no can be exhibited in all areas of your life, right? It doesn't have to just be work. It doesn't have to just be church. It doesn't just have to be, or whatever religion or whatever form of spirituality you practice. It doesn't have to be just that. It doesn't have to be just exercise. It doesn't have to just be being a student or being studious or studying. It can be in relationships. It can be in your family, within your family. You know, there might be toxic individuals in your family where you have to say no. And I know the holiday season is coming up, so practicing no is very important, where you have to be strategic of how you're saying your no, the quality of your no, the firmness of your no, when you're saying it, how you're saying it all matters. And I think when you regulate your no, it allows you to have a better response of a yes. I know Shonda Rhimes wrote this book called The Year of Yes, and I'm yet to read it. That is on my bucket list to read, and hopefully I can read it at the beginning, starting next year. Your no right now will propel you into the right yes. And even if you think about it as far as jobs and opportunities, sometimes we get opportunities that we've been wishing for. But because it doesn't align with us, it doesn't align with what God has for us. It doesn't align with us morally. It doesn't align with us spiritually. It doesn't align with us as it will be of help to us and others. Sometimes those opportunities harm others, but it helps you. Um, Saying no early can allow you to say yes later. But also, you think about people who are saying no to you in jobs or whatever types of presentation or whatever thing you're trying to get off the ground, those first couple of no's, they propel you into the next yes. Because when you get the no, you're like, okay, make sure that I'm doing this part right. Maybe I need to reevaluate where I went wrong. Maybe even ask those individuals who said no why they said no or how they could help you. It's just like going through previously when I went through the medical school application process. And when my friends went through the application process for medical school, there were different schools who would actually go through your application with you and say, these are your strong points, these are your strengths, but these are your weaknesses. These are areas that we need for you to work on in order for us to best evaluate and to best categorize you as a great student, as a good potential student for our institution. That way we can benefit you and you benefit us because it's a mutual thing. One day I'm going to stop talking with my hands. We're a work in progress. But in all aspects of your life, we have to identify where our no's can be utilized and also where our yeses can be utilized effectively. And that has to do with wisdom and understanding what season you are in, if you are in a no season, and if you are in a yes season. And I believe these last days of the year, you can really determine if you are going into a yes year or if you're going into a no year. I think pretty much this entire year, I would categorize this year as pretty much a no year of me learning my voice and learning how to say no to certain things, whether it was relationships, whether it was just slowing down my creative mind and saying, okay, no, not yet. And sometimes the no is not yet. It's not like a definite no. It's not at the moment. Maybe later on. Say for instance, you're um going through the process of dating or you want to get married, but you realize that there's so much stuff that you have to work on personally, like going to therapy, digging up certain traumas in order for said relationship or your dating experience to go well. You have to say no to certain things. You have to have boundaries, right? You have to say maybe you're like, okay, I'll go on a date every couple of months, not just dating serially. But I'm going to try this just to see where I am emotionally, just to see where I am, how I'm able to communicate, what are my communication skills, how am I effectively coming across to the other individual across the table. And that has to do with you evaluating the season that you're in. And if I'm just say I'll put myself in that scenario. If I'm dating someone and I'm like, okay, these are my boundaries. I'm saying no to frequent phone calls. I'm saying no to frequent texts unless it's information to meet up or about the location that we're having the date at, just kind of to navigate that part. Um, and I'm saying no to maybe physical touch, right? Those are no's. And if that other individual does not acknowledge that no, then you know for yourself, okay, am I saying my no correctly? Am I being firm in my no? How is my posture? Does my posture within this no, is it like legit? Like, are they, I don't want to say intimidated, but are they firmly aware that this is a non-negotiable no? There's no wiggle room around it. Like, this is a no, this is a no. And I think sometimes when we're establishing our no, we sometimes think it's too firm, that we're being too harsh on someone else, or we're being too hard on ourselves, that we are living without something, or we don't allow ourselves to experience a thing. And I think that we have to realize that it's okay, because once you establish your no, and it's something that I'm working on, it kind of frees you up it frees you up to understand this is my life. I know what can enter, what cannot enter. You're very strong in your posture and your position, and nothing can change it. But you're also open to when that season shifts from no to yes. And I hope, it is my hope that by the end of this year, I am more understanding of my no. I am firm in my no, not just for others, but for myself, because sometimes we have to tell ourselves no. You know, if you are becoming more financially aware or financially stable, you want to get out of debt, you're not going to expend a lot of money on stuff that you don't need, right? It's delayed gratification. And you're not just gonna go, I don't know, maybe you used to be on a Gucci budget, but now you're on the H&M budget. I don't know. Or maybe you were on the H&M budget, now you're on a Walmart or an Old Navy budget, but you still can look nice. Um, but you're saving, you have a goal in mind, and that's where your no's and your yeses um, go into goal setting and understanding your goals. Because if you have a definite goal that you want to reach, say for instance, in the next 60 days, I want to save, I don't know, maybe save $2,000, have $2,000 in my savings account. That's a goal, right? What am I going to do in the next 60 days to ensure that I have $2,000 in my savings account by December 31st? I'm going to have to say no to some things. The goal requires me to say no, right? And and it just, once you develop that no and your mind is wrapped around it conceptually, it just makes your life a little bit easier to navigate, because once you have your own set of no's for yourself, you can navigate yourself, you can navigate your personality, you can navigate your mind, your body, and your soul, and that reflects outwardly to your relationships, right, outside of your inward person, your outward relationships, your colleagues, your job, your friends, all the other things that we have in this experience. You have to regulate your inward self first, and then outwardly it will project. So if you aren't consistent in the small things with yourself, I'm sure that and it goes back to that example about dating, if you are unsure of the no for yourself, when you meet other people, they're going to be unsure about that no too, because it starts inwardly. A lot of times people can perceive that you're really trying really hard, and they kind of sneak their way around you trying because they know that where you are is not firm, it's not a foundation yet. So that foundation inwardly has to be stable. And that's where I'm really trying to develop these last 60 days of this year, is to really develop a foundation, realistic foundation of goals, and realistic foundation of saying yes and saying no and being firm in that posture, so that when I get into next year, I have non-negotiables in place that can stand the test, that can stand any type of temptation, any type of obstacle, any type of friction, any type of roller coaster that next year may bring. If we establish these foundations now, it'll be a little bit easier to navigate life next year. And that's why in previous videos, I talk about how you're not supposed to wait to January 1st to develop your vision for the year. It starts now. It starts right now. So I'm going to wrap up this video, and I just pray that whatever you need to say no to, God gives you the strength and the courage to say no to. And whatever you need to say yes to, that God gives you the strength and the courage and the boldness to say yes to. We are all in this life. We are here to live an abundant life. And half of the battle is establishing yes and no's properly. And I also pray that throughout these next couple of days that all of us would have established a routine and a non-negotiables that allow us to reach every goal, whether big or small, in the next coming year. And also this year. This year is not over. We have tomorrow is 60 days until the end of the year. And 60 days is plenty enough time to get that project done, to start that business, to write down that those business goals, to go out and volunteer, to help someone in need, to reach someone who's lost, to help and not harm someone, to think about the words that you're saying, to really walk into what God has for you and what God's divine purpose is for you. And also you can read books. 60 days is a lot of time to read books, to start studying, to start preparing to study for, eh, you know, I don't know, an exam, a certification, the MCAT, the next click. So whatever it is that you need to study for, 60 days is enough time to be prepared. The Bible says that the Lord Jesus grew in wisdom and in stature. He grew in wisdom and in stature, and he was obedient. So sometimes these 60 days is just for us to reroute ourselves and be reminded of what God has for us and what God wants us to do, so that we can be obedient to his word, so that we can grow in wisdom and grow in stature in all things concerning God, but also in other things within this world. We exist in this world, but we're not of it. But we are supposed to understand the ways of this world. So even if it's understanding how you can exist in this world, understanding business, understanding economics, understanding how the government is set up, you can learn so much in 60 days that will help you on your destiny. Don't count out the small little things that will definitely help you, even if it's you learning to say no. Okay? All right. I'm praying for you guys. Keep your head up. We have 60 days left in this year. And one of the ways that I am regulating my no's and my yes and building routines is coming on here every night and doing these videos until the end of the year. And pray for me. And now, as I pray for you, as I lift you up in prayer, I really pray that we enter into all that God has for us. And yeah. All right. Bye.